Declined, and we did not get a response from Representative Heisman. We are, however, continuing to work with both legislators to identify an alternative time to meet before the 2020 legislative session starts, and we will keep you posted and updated on those efforts. Hello, folks. How you doing? Excellent. Thank you for being part of our panel tonight. Okay. So let's jump right into the first question. And this is addressed to all of the elected officials on the panel. And you'll each have 2 minutes to respond. And I'm going to have this lady, Nancy, who's going to have a little sign saying 2 minutes, 30 seconds, 1 minute, done. Okay? So, she'll help us keep track of the time. First question is, and I'll just hand this mic down, and we'll start from left to right. First question is, you've heard us talk about the following challenges: rapid changes in the landscape, an increase in pollutants in the river and surrounding lakes and streams, and concerns about the water we drink, we swim in, fish in, and rely on for our local economic growth. Which challenges seem the most pressing to you?
I'm Commissioner Barrows from Crow Wing County, and I want to thank everybody for showing up tonight. One of the biggest challenges that I've seen since I've been in office is the thought that we can ask for forgiveness rather than permission. So when they infringe on our wetlands, when they infringe on our shorelines, they come in and ask for a variance. And this is a question and a problem that weighs heavily on me, and that I'm kind of working through with the staff to try to figure out how to address that, because there's just the thought that there's no penalty for doing that. And what is the line that you draw for that penalty? There has to be a line drawn for it, but to me it has to be painful enough that you don't do it. So that's the biggest issue in my mind when it comes to our clean water and that.
Okay, thank you. Darrel, Olson with the City of Baxter. I think the answer, for me anyway, is kind of short and sweet. It's the cost of implementation. It's the dollars that it takes to both infrastructure and then the manpower. Once we have the ditches in, they have to be mowed and all the things that go along with that. It's always a struggle to come up with the dollars to fulfill the requirements. The requirements are important, don't get me wrong, but they come with a price tag. That is it's a constant struggle with figuring out how we're going to pay for those things.
I'm Nevin from Crosslake. The biggest struggle we have is money, trying to fund things. We've got a lot of good ideas, stormwater, sanitary water, but we live in a small town, 2,200 tax-paying people, and it's tough to pay for it. So we got a lot of good ideas. We're gonna, try to manage some stormwater. We're gonna try to work with Bill here and the county commissioners and try to get some help to do it the right way instead of the short way, but thank you.
Bill Brekken, Crow Wing County Commissioner. I've had the opportunity to be involved with the One Watershed, One Plan. And I think that we have, I'll say...
Here we go. One watershed, one...
initiatives that are already starting that we can get behind. And one simple thing that the watershed has done is they've hired 2 farmers that are going out and talking to other farmers in the watershed to help educate, to help them get on board, to prevent the runoff, protect the soil, and as we were talking earlier too, the forest. The forest is going to be key to that the development and our ability to have water quality going in the future.
Well, I think it's all about the clean water, and I'm really excited that you're here tonight.
Tell us who you are.
Oh.
We know, Carrie.
Senator Carrie.
Some people may not.
So I'm really excited about that you're all here, and everyone has a passion for the Mississippi River. I went and looked. I interact with a lot of groups that deal with the Mississippi River, and I really went through and looked to see all the ways that you can get involved with the Mississippi River and not reinvent the wheel. So locally, we have over 5 groups. Regionally, we have over 6. Statewide, over 6, and nationally, 8+. So there are so many ways that you can get involved in the river and great projects that are going on right now. I was just in Detroit a month ago and we looked at cover crops, no-till cover crops. It's an amazing thing what the farmers are doing. They really have a passion for not putting the nutrients and the pollution in the water. We were just down in Memphis a month ago with the Mayor's Association. It's called the Mississippi River Legislative Caucus, which I'm on, and the Cities and Towns Initiatives with all the mayors. And their Mississippi looks a lot different than our Mississippi. And so we have invited them to come up next fall. The conference is going to be in Bemidji, Minnesota. And we're going to have them all walk across Itasca because we want them to see what the river can be.
Yeah.
You can drink that water. You can swim in that water. So we want them to see what it can be. You know, only about 18 to 19% of the water in the Mississippi comes from Minnesota. So most of the pollutants that you see that are down at the end of the Mississippi do not come from Minnesota. We are doing a really good at cleaning up our jobs. We've got the buffer bills. We are really working hard with all these associations to do a good job on the Mississippi River. Can we do better? Yes, we can. And so all of you here today with a passion for the river can join these groups and really, we can do a really good job here.
Super. Thank you. Thank you, folks. Appreciate that. Appreciate your thoughts. Now, this next question is for Stephanie Pacala. Stephanie works for the Nature Conservancy, and she works with the government relations. So this is designed specifically for you.
On the hot seat then.
There you go. What opportunities do we have to address these changes in the 2020 legislative session?
Thank you. So I will say that a lot of the elected officials who are up here have already recognized that there are things we're already doing. And I think the challenge and the opportunity is that we know what we have to do, we know how to do it, it's just that we're not doing it fast enough and big enough, because we know that that's where the challenge lies. And in terms of this Minnesota State legislative session, I think we know, so going into 2020, the legislature, as Senator Ruud knows, will be considering a bonding bill. And so that's loans that the state takes out against itself, essentially. And prior to the passage of the legacy amendment in 2008, which you heard about earlier, we were spending a lot of bonding on programs that would help target some of these things, on easement programs that keep forests and grass in place, on programs that acquire land and turn it into scientific and natural areas or wildlife management areas in really critical places that we know are beneficial for water and for wildlife and all those benefits that Todd Holman listed out earlier. But then once we got this blessing of the legacy amendment in 2008, we stopped using that source of funding and we focused on new projects that needed to happen. But as a result, we haven't been making those same levels or same types of investments that we as a state have made. So looking to 2020, looking to our legislative champion here who already supports some of these things, we know that in 2020, we as members or as constituents and as taxpayers in Minnesota can be advocating for bonding dollars to be invested in programs that are going to keep forests where we know the forest is providing the cleanest water and the highest return on investment, and keep grasslands where they're providing the highest return on investment, and make sure that the few precious dollars we have that are spent on our natural resources are going to those most critical places where we know that they're going to make a difference. Because that's at the end of the day, there's only so much money to go around, and we need to, try and build up more of it for our natural resources. But because it's always going to be limited, we need to prioritize where those dollars are being spent. And I think, I know Senator Ruud has been a great champion for investing bonding dollars in some of these programs. We need to get her and her colleagues on board with it. So I think that the great opportunity we have is to educate our other lawmakers from this area and other parts of the state about the importance of this for this community and for this whole state.
I just want to give Stephanie a shout out because she is at the Capitol and she really helps. We can't know everything about every topic, and so she is at my office. She knows the door is always open, and she does come up and bring me those issues a lot, and brings me, and so does Todd Holman, and so I can't thank you enough because you really do help me understand the critical nature of some of the projects that I wouldn't know otherwise. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, folks, I appreciate that.